with the National Association of Black and White Men Together. Something different today. What I would like to talk about is a review of this book, White Fear. Got a copy of it here. It's a tremendous book, well worth downloading from Amazon or getting it at the library. And this book really is well worth it, not just for white folks, but for anyone that wants to know an accurate account of the U.S. Basic racial history. So, the author is Roland Martin, and he doesn't hold back on the truth of this country, from the past to the present. His daily digital show, Roland Martin Unfiltered, does the same. White Fear explains and lays out the racism of America in politics, economics, education, and in history. It explains demographics, how important voting is, how even white people are against racism, and what needs to be done to fight racism. The overall keyword is that by 2043, no ethnic group will be in the majority in the United States. 2/3 of the world's countries have a majority of people of color. Pew Research estimates that half of the millenniums aged 6 to 21 are people of color. These rapidly changing demographics have a profound effect for 2 decades for our elections, government policies, and economic growth. And white supremacy has been at the foundation of this country's infrastructure, and race continues to dominate the American psyche ever since. So Roland Martin's skill is that he's able to connect the dots and condense this critical information that we all need to know while giving us a history lesson. This book allows us to see clearly issues like Black Lives Matter or challenging corporate media on the blind spots or voter suppression. Interestingly, the majority ethnic groups were optimistic about the future, but white Americans think the opposite. Ever since the election of Obama, there has been a resurgence of white opposition, both covert and open. But there has been a similar problem, and even in President Reagan's presidency, in the rhetoric of Pat Buchanan and Richard Nixon. And then there is Trump. Martin weaves a composite picture of racial history, repeating over and over again. He reminds us that white violence is justified and the perpetrators are aligned with white supremacy. The White Manifesto is described in great detail as, quote, the American dream, or, quote, make America great again, when the country was great for whites and hell for people of color. In doing so, this book provides more than enough information for you to do further research and investigation to understand our history, current events, and future possibilities. Roland reveals how grappling with white fear as a nation will require America to have hard, difficult conversations about systemic racism and how to dismantle the ugly truths at its core. One of my favorite quotes by Toni Morrison appears in the book, and I quote, "If you can only be tall because someone else is on their knees, then you have a serious problem," end quote. Recall that not since President Johnson has won the White House with the majority of white voters as any other majority persevered. Martin says this is vital to understand this, since white people think that people of color are just visitors. And now we can't separate Trump and the Republican Party. Trump's modus operandi is bullying, delaying, and denying. Hence, white folks need to call out other white people. Roland Martin envisages a new American environment, given that white America has to figure out how in the hell it will operate in a world it does not completely control. We cannot allow thugs to control Congress and the White House again. We have to turbocharge what we are doing now. Diverse folks should aspire for public office, and Martin offers some advice for white people. And if you are an NABWMT white member, you should not remain silent. As Martin says, change is now, and we are the change. We need to do the heavy lifting and take a lead on calling out racism and bigotry. As John Lewis said, quote, if you do something, say something, and for goodness sake, I'm paraphrasing, let's go ahead and all of us do something. Black folks have done the work over centuries. We need modern day abolitionists, and with the proud history of the NABWMT at our back, we can do this. Please consider reading this book. It's great. And it's available on Amazon. It will inspire you. And please like, comment, and subscribe to our platforms. Thank you so much for listening to us.